Hello there, and welcome to the channel, or welcome back. Today I was guided to do a very simple 3 card pull problem suggestion and answer. But as I got into the reading, it was very apparent that while this is a relatively, and I'm using air quotes here, simple problem to solve, with these cards, it's saying that, it doesn't mean that it will be easy, right? When you talk to people about this, it may seem to them like a very, straightforward way to kind of solve these problems. But because we have our own emotions and experiences and beliefs tied up in all of this, it's not that easy. Okay. So just bear that in mind as we move forward, because I think you have also thought about possible solutions to this to this problem, but there are other things that are kind of holding us back, right? Another thing that I was really getting as I was pulling these cards was about symptoms, that we've been dealing with symptoms for some time now, and we're finally ready to really get to the core, get to the root of what has been causing all of these things, so we can stop, slapping a band-aid on this and finally truly heal what has been the cause. So I'm seeing that we have our finances tied up in a relationship right now with this Two of Cups. It could be a romantic relationship. For most of you, it will be romantic. And what I'm getting is that for some, this relationship hasn't even come into play yet. If you are currently in a relationship where, there are shared resources and finances and things like that, yes, there is that. And I can see that for some of you is creating a kind of blockage, right? It's a challenge to kind of move forward in the way that you want, because you are dependent upon someone else for certain things. And we can begin to move beyond that. For a lot of you, I'm seeing there's already, some type of, with this King of Pentacles, you're already trying to figure out a better way to become independent, and then like solely independent, where you do not have to rely on someone else. Even though I'm seeing that you don't mind, you do have very much like a caretaker kind of energy here. Uh, I think you enjoy being able to provide for others when it's something that you want to do. But right now, because it's out of necessity, and there's this feeling of just feeling stuck, really, that you don't have a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? You don't have a lot of space to kind of, you don't have a lot of choice, really. um so when you have to spend money, it's creating this energy that is like, I'm just seeing like a locking up of like someone's muscles kind of locking up. Like it might actually create a kind of physical response in you when you feel like you have to spend money. Otherwise, you're very generous, but right now, because you were in a situation where you feel stuck, it's going to start affecting, the way that you deal with money in your relationship to money and finances. um The suggestion is going to go in a few different ways, because right now what we're really struggling with is independence, um, like our own kinds of stability. And because this, we do have the King of Pentacles, so again, this is mostly material and financial. Um, but what I'm also seeing is that obviously, like your emotions affect this. Like if you're not feeling the best, you don't really want to go out and do whatever it is that you do to like secure finances that day. And for a lot of you guys, I'm seeing like there's a lot of like interaction that you have with the public, or maybe even, this other individual that you just have your money tied up with, where it's like it's making it more and more difficult to kind of push through and do like the kinds of things that you're just doing day to day. I'm seeing someone just kind of go through the motions. Maybe some of your other like habits that you have in your routine that really help you maintain a level of clarity. Like, I'm just seeing it's getting really, really difficult to do what I feel like are kind of basic expectations just throughout your day here. Moving into suggestion, we have the Five of Cups and the Two of Swords. There is a lot of energy being spent on a decision that you wish you would have made. I'm getting a lot about, hindsight, the if only kind of trap, just looking at things where it's like, if I could rewind the clock, I would have done this differently. And that is leaning into this kind of, with the Two of Swords, like a real hesitation to make a decision. There's this feeling like because you missed something before, you would miss it again. And again, just a lot of overthinking with this sword energy, a lot of repressed emotions. I think there's also a degree of like anger that you feel towards the decision, this past decision that you made, that you feel like is like what is causing the current situation. I'm so sorry if you can hear, there's a loud garbage truck that just went by outside, if you can hear that. And I'm also getting just a lot of there's a general kind of facade that's happening right now that maybe you feel that you have to put on as you like just your day to day, because you're not where you want to be. You're actively like in your mind creating steps and a plan to move towards something else that maybe, you aren't really opening up to anybody about this, because you also aren't, I'm seeing you aren't fully invested, because there is still this looking to the past and what you believe was just like some massive life altering mistake. Lots of defensiveness maybe around if anyone else, in your kind of in your circle or your proximity makes suggestions about how you can move forward. I'm seeing a lot of defensiveness. And maybe to the point now where you don't even really want to talk about it with anyone else. I'm seeing there's just a lot of maybe like shame and guilt around this past decision. This past decision that has brought you to where you are now, this feeling of kind of instability. And I'm also getting, for a lot of you, you're questioning like how you, I'm just seeing someone question, how do I even explain this? It's like, if we're using like the King of Pentacles as this archetype, it's like you're questioning whether or not this is even like a thing like a king would do. Like, why did I do this? And I like who, kind of like on the more like self-deprecating end of the spectrum, it's more like you're questioning how you could be so dumb. If you could move that and on, a little, I'm seeing someone like if you could knock the kind of spectrum into a more like empowering position, the question is more of like, don't I know who I am? Like it's more of like you need to, I think what you're really reckoning with is this feeling that there was like a level of integrity that you weren't able to hold to. Like maybe if this was a relationship, um I'm just seeing a lot of like maybe there were decisions made that if you were able to remove like the emotion from it, you would have made a different decision. All right, because um the water energy that's here at the beginning of the reading is much more, it's a heavy kind of emotion. It's, I mean, the characters too are like, they're kind of steeped in the water, as opposed to later in the spread with the Two of Cups, where the characters are a lot more free and the water is flowing in the way that it should. I feel like there was a lot of emotional repression here that like led to this decision being made. And even still in the present moment, there's, what I'm seeing is someone that is like getting their feet wet, right? Like in the sand, and like sometimes the waves are coming up and they'll let the water kind of cover their feet, but there's still a level of hesitation to truly like let yourself be submerged like by the water, like to truly go in and like fully feel all of the things that led up to the present moment. There's still like a little bit of hesitation around that. And again, it's more so because there's a lot of blame. We need to find a new perspective. There's no need to get down on ourselves. There's no need to, we need to move out of the blame. Because it's keeping us rooted in that past decision, and it's really stopping us from moving forward and being able to find the kinds of solutions that will free us up and will free our emotions up. There's so much, I'm like literally I'm just getting like emotional kind of constipation. There's a need to be honest with yourself. If you can't even sit with yourself and allow yourself to be honest, like in your own mind, or talk, if you talk to yourself out loud, be honest about how you feel about certain things or why you did certain things, or just the fact that, there, like, I was in a place where I didn't make the best decision. It's okay. Moving forward, if you are able to, and I see you doing this, I see this is like this has been something that I see you've been slowly chipping away at, but now I'm just getting, again, that visual, like someone like diving into like an incoming wave, you know what I mean, just off the shore, and remembering that, like, the shore is right there, you're okay, but just allowing the full realization to kind of to hello, the full emotion to be realized. um if you When you do allow this, I'm not going to say if, when you allow this, when you begin to understand that you have a lot more control than you give yourself credit. Like, this situation I'm seeing is not, it's not some like life altering decision. There's no, the only major arcana here I pulled is a clarifier, and it was when I was getting more at why you were kind of getting down on yourself, and it's because, and the Lovers popped up, and it's because there's no choice. But this, as like a whole, I'm getting, weird dealing with a pattern, right? That at the end of it, when you were finally able to break this loop, we have the Queen of Pentacles, the Two of Cups, the Page of Swords. Like, there is the independence that you want, that will still allow for like the level of softness that you want with this Queen of Pentacles, right? That ability that I was saying, that you really, when you really enjoy being able to take care of others, there's that nurturing, very like motherly kind of thing. I mean, even too, I'm seeing like in terms of business with your career, I think you are the type of person who will be able to, in whatever field, whatever it is that you do, will be able to help others that wants to do a similar thing, like, get going. And you will be a very like guiding kind of force for them, and being able to, kind of, because of your experience, right, help them avoid certain pitfalls. I'm seeing a lot of like just helping plant seeds and really nurturing that growth for others. Um, and for a lot of you too, this is where you will find your partner. Like, once you really get in your zone and your flow, and you're doing what it is that you want to do with your life, and you have that independence, and you're able to do the things that you want, and act from that place of like, well, I know that I am solid and independent, and I can do whatever it is that I need, and I don't need to rely on anybody else for finances or validation, or, whatever it is, then you will be able to find uh your person here with the Two of Cups. And for a lot of you, this will be someone who works in a similar field. You guys are able to build that kind of foundation together. And then we have the Page of Swords. So this is also telling me that there's a lot of and again, swords is pretty present throughout your reading. I know you were this is a very like cerebral kind of energy. So if there's anything, swords also can represent like sciences and the arts. So if those fields interest you, all of that. But with the Page of Swords too, is I'm also getting like, right now you may find yourself in this place of like, when extra challenges or things come up, it's like, oh god, like another thing, like it's really exhausting. It's really like, even small things can seem like they just are like, oh my god, this extra like massive kind of weight. But uh in this outcome, you will be ready. Like, there's more mental dexterity, there's less exhaustion, there's more of like a desire and a real enjoyment in being able to like go after things. I feel like too, a lot of what it is that you have to do, you and your partner, is like, you have a lot of educating to do, a lot of speaking. Like, these are people that are like, they just know what is going on, and they know what they're talking about, and they're not afraid of the challenges that are presenting themselves now, right? Because they're wielding this sword as it's a tool that they have, right? So when we are finally able to look at the reality of why we made the decisions that we did, right, of why our feelings were what they were at this time, and are able to be kind with ourselves, because again, the Five of Cups, if you've ever looked at a tarot card, there's usually, two or three of the Five Cups are overturned, but the other two or three are upright, which is to say that, yes, there's some kind of perceived loss, but if you are understanding, the cycles of life and death, and energy, is that, one ending is just another beginning. So there is still opportunity. There is still something to be gained in this experience, in this kind of grief, in this kind of moment of pause and reflection that we're experiencing. But it's important to not get stuck there. It's important to, look around, gain that perspective, and find a way forward. Because right now, what I'm seeing is we just have a lot of repressed emotion that is leading to, you know, overthinking or even like stagnant thought. I'm seeing, someone who's just not really wanting to get into the thick of it. But you're ready for that because what you're wanting to build requires that. So this is just the next step. All right. Let's pull an oracle. I did not get one for you guys before I sat down to do this reading. So we're just going to see what comes up here. Father, Mother, Life, Divine Consciousness, thank you so much. Alrighty, we have number 25, create intentional solitude. Let's see, it's a picture of a little koala bear. Number 25. Okay. It says, intentional solitude is a form of prayer. It creates temenos, a protected space for communion or worship between you and the sacred. When you unplug from responsibilities, distractions, and the constant pressure of communication, a spaciousness opens up in the psyche that isn't normally available. Dreams, insights, inspirations, and aha moments occur easily in this space. Listen closely. Say nothing. Allow yourself to pursue the presence of the person who has the richest offerings for your life. You. Great. And in that space of silence too, when all the pressures of what everyone else around us thinks we should or shouldn't do or say or think, that's when we can find our deepest, most personal truth. All right. That's all I have for you guys. Thank you so much for being here. I hope this helped. I hope this helped. If it did, feel free to leave a comment. I appreciate all the likes. You know how it goes. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.